Our next speaker is Natalie Denby. Natalie is the director of the waste-free shop and cafe called Just Gaia, which is in the Peace Hall in Halifax. We're really looking forward to hearing her talk about how we can live a more sustainable lifestyle. And a little bird told me that she has a little surprise for us as part of her presentation. So over to you, Natalie.
So yeah, I'll just introduce myself. I'm Natalie. I started up Just Gaia with my husband. It's a sustainable refill shop, and it's quite an interactive one at that. So we've got a make your own peanut butter machine, make your own orange juice machine. You can refill all your food, so you can refill your dry food, you can refill all your liquids. So all this is contained in a very small but a perfectly formed space in the Peace Hall, which is obviously the beautiful tourist attraction. You know, what an amazing place to have something like this. So, obligatory cheesy family picture. We feel our story is similar, very similar to many people across Halifax. Just a busy family of four. So I was getting up at 6 a.m. for work. My husband was getting home super late, 8:30 at night, children at school, nursery, all those sorts of things. And then what we were realising was, it was quite bizarre really, we was in the house for just a few hours at a time, yet our bin was always full. Recycling bin, waste bin, normal bin, everything was sort of overflowing, which made no sense to imagine that we was hardly ever there. So we thought that was very, very weird. So we sort of spoke to other people. Are we just odd? Is this a bit of an epidemic? What's going on here? Quite a lot of other people seem to be in the same boat. They were in the same position as well, probably worse than us, because obviously buying online, you've got your Amazon, things like that, all the packaging that comes with, and all the paraphernalia with that. It's just sort of getting out of hand really. So we decided that wasn't going to be us anymore. We weren't going to do that. We were going to go to the supermarket. We was going to do our new shop with our new eyes and make sure we weren't coming back with all that waste and bringing unnecessary things into the home. This was quite a few years ago now. So yeah, we went and did that, and then we quickly realised that it wasn't going to be a thing. You couldn't go to the supermarket and not have all that rubbish. It just wasn't going to happen. Fruit, veg, meals, anything. It was pretty eye-opening, like I said. So we just couldn't go back. Once we'd seen that, once we'd realised that, there was sort of no coming back from that, really. So again, we were speaking to people, seeing colleagues, neighbours, all that sort of thing, and we quickly realised there was two categories of people. So we've got the people who was in the first category, so they were aware of their wasteful lifestyle and they were sort of trying ways to combat that and do things differently, and other people that were aware but didn't really know where to start, didn't know what to do about that. Right on the other side, the other category 2, where they hadn't thought a bit about it at all, and it was kind of a bit of a hippie thing to worry about, or to quote our Prime Minister, munching eco-freaks, which is one of his favourite quotes of mine. There are many. So after doing quite a bit of research, we became a bit disillusioned really, and a little bit upset. We didn't want our children sort of growing up in an environment where this was normal, where all this was damaging our own environment really. And at this time, my husband was working at Sheffield Uni, and it was just great timing because they had just opened a zero waste shop there, the Students' Union, so you could get sort of dry pastas and dry cereals and things like that. So we thought we'd do our bit, and that would be our little bit of change. We'd shop there. Obviously not the most convenient things for everybody in the area, with it being in Sheffield, and that was the closest place at that time to sort of do zero waste shopping. And we kept that up, and as time went on, it kind of got a little bit more, I don't know, it brought to the forefront quite a little bit, I guess, with, you know, your YouTube channels and your Instagram and things like that. Young people in this area were getting quite aware of it, because I was working in a school at that point, and it started to sort of build a momentum, sort of reducing our waste and things like that. And we sort of started to see things pop up near our area in the Leeds and things, but we didn't see anything in our area. And me and my husband, being like we are, instead of sort of moaning about it, we thought, okay, shall we do it? Instead of moaning about it, shall we actually try and change something and do something for ourselves and our local community too? And then, we just kind of jumped into it, which is a little bit of a scary thing to do, since I'd never done anything like this before, but yeah, got carried away, to say the least. So again, we spoke to everybody in the community. So we was on the Facebook, we was on Instagram, we were speaking to people, and we wanted to find out what it looked like for them, how we could help them live a more sustainable lifestyle. And we wanted them to feel comfortable doing it as well, and making sure there wasn't all this waste and all the packaging coming with it. But the more we looked into it, we realised there was so much more issues sort of tied to that as well. It wasn't just the packaging, it was the items themselves, such as, you know, sellotape. You use that once, it's around for, you know, 500 years, and you can't reuse it again. It's done with. So again, we started looking into all the products and all these types of things, but it became very clear to us that very early on, it was sort of behavioural and habits and perceptions that we kind of really needed to work on. It wasn't necessarily always about buying something, it was about just making little changes to yourself. Do we even need these things? While we were doing this, we had to dig further into the issues, further into the problems, because it went a lot deeper than just what the customer saw, if you like. It was great having these items that people could come in, buy and shop. That was great, no plastic for them. But as a shop, we didn't want to be getting everything shipped in from far away and all the excess that came with that too. So we started to quite rely on quite heavily local producers, because what we found with that is that they could make us something and we could give the container back to them and they could refill it for us. And then we was creating a looped system, so there was no waste at any point for anybody. And that kind of became at the heart of what we do, really. And it wasn't just that, it was organic veg producers as well. They were packaging their things in plastic in the local area, and we spoke to them and we got things changed so that things just came in, you know, a cardboard box. Again, it sounds like simple little things, but we wanted to make sure that we as a business was following those principles ourselves as well, and we feel like that was the best way to do it. So that was the root of that issue, and every time you solve an issue, there's always another one, there's always more problems, there's always other things that we need to look at in terms of our habits and the way we live. And yeah, so in order to tackle this, we kind of needed to sort of look outwards a little bit more and look at those perceptions and those behaviours and appeal to our community. So we got going, we got our shop, and we wanted to make it quite an experiential place. We wanted the children to come in, we wanted them to get involved, we wanted to them have fun, we wanted those asking questions, along with the adults as well. They ended up asking more and having probably more of a fun time, which we weren't expecting. And we wanted that to be the norm. We wanted that to feel normal, to be able to say, oh yeah, who made this? And we could tell them, or the person who made the item were in the shop, or, you know, perhaps grown the item, all these sorts of things. We would be able to give a detailed story about each individual product, and people were making real changes to their lifestyle. And then that we got hit by COVID. So we've got all these people coming in, making all these amazing changes, and then the Peace Hall closed, which obviously made things difficult. But people didn't want to go back to their old ways, because obviously they were shopping in the supermarket, and like us, once they'd seen how much packaging, they didn't want to go back to that. So we sort of kept going, and we came up with a website just to make it easier for people to carry on with the way that they were living. So that was quite interesting. We needed to move to deliveries because nobody could come in, and we didn't want to be chucking things on the back of a van, because again, that didn't really meet our ethos or what we was trying to do. We felt like that was going to bring us back. And luckily at that time, during the pandemic, a new business emerged, Calderdale, which is a delivery service in our area that deliver by bikes. And that kind of started more questions from other shop owners as well. Although they weren't an eco shop, they saw this and they wanted to do similar. Obviously we could sort of pass those details on, but it was great that shops that weren't eco were starting to sort of mirror those ways, and other shops that were sort of popping up as well were using the suppliers that we'd sort of organised, who are also now zero waste because of us. So that was a great feeling. But along with that came more responsibilities in terms of more questions from not only our customers then, but just from the community at wide, other shoppers, other businesses. What we decided to do is just to get a questionnaire out there and just to help people a little bit more. So on our website, we wanted to just put a little bit more information about products and services and advice on how to sort of live a more sustainable lifestyle. And so, yeah, we got that out there, and we got so many answers back. We got thousands of answers back, so it kind of showed to us that there was a real need, and there was quite a lot of information that people were missing. There was definitely patterns in the information that we got from people. So if something was obviously plastic, like a plastic bottle and things like that, people obviously knew straight away. But if it was a hidden plastic, people completely missed what the issue were with them. So if it was in a documentary, for example, the war on plastic was a fantastic one, purely because it brought to the forefront the plastic that is in the tea bags, which blew so many people's minds. They weren't aware of it, and we were going through, I don't know, 100 million in the UK alone of those, and that's just one item. So that again brought to the forefront how much we don't really know what's in what we're buying, what's in what we're purchasing, and what detriment that could be on our environment. So then my husband decided to get all this on a blog, again, like I mentioned, to get that on the website so people could see that, and so people could access that information and find out as much as there was. So we were, you know, if there's anything they needed to know, they could share that with family members, with other people. So he got all that data all together, all written up, and then it ended up being hundreds of pages long. It wasn't really something that we could put in a blog. So yeah, what we have decided to do is put that into a book. So all that information is gathered around Halifax. So all in there, it's going to be an ebook, and all that information from the Halifax area, all the questions that have been answered, all the concerns, we have addressed in there, and it hopefully other towns will be able to sort of take from that as well. So it's got everything in there that people have asked us, and it's sort of focusing on how to change perceptions and habits and things like that. And we felt like Halifax was definitely a good place to do that, because I feel like we're quite a conscientious place when it comes to things like that. We are sort of on the forefront, and you know, wouldn't it be amazing if we could sort of share that information with other towns too. I've flown through the end bit there because I'm not too sure how much time I've got left on there. But if there are any questions, so if you are wanting to know how to sort of live a plastic-free lifestyle, things like that, just drop us an email or speak to us on Instagram. Or if you are perhaps wanting to set something up yourself and you're sort of in that mind frame, get in contact, and we're more than happy to answer any questions there too.